Welcome to CBS Soap Dish Recap, a podcast about your favorite CBS soaps. Each week, we deliver the best, hard-hitting analysis of the previous week of The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful. Now, here's your hosts. She here, and Amanda was like, that's what I'm trying to... That was funny. That was hilarious. But yeah, when Naya told Amani she's my daughter, she was looking crazy.
Yep.
And it's like you got some splaining to do.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, she gained a sister because obviously Amani is the only child, it seems, by her father. You know, between her mama and her father.
Yeah, that might be how she likes it. She might not want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was making me. I was thinking as I was watching it, I was thinking, I wonder if this will turn into her being angry at her mom and then kind of bonding with Amanda over it, or if it will turn into her hating Amanda and trying to do things to ruin Amanda's life.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying when you had stepped away from the phone,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I'm wondering how they're going to bring these two characters into the show, or are they, or is this just Amanda realizing who the extended family is and where she come from, and then they leave it go, or are they going to actually bring Naya and Amani as characters on the show?
I would like to see more of Amani.
So let's speak about characters on the show. And I'm going to address this and I'm going to be diplomatic about it.
Mm-hmm.
So besides these two characters coming on the show, and there is an extra that everybody has been buzzing about in the group that has this green dress on that's off the shoulder. Mm-hmm. She is African American, and people are having problems with this. Okay. There has been some statements because we had, as an admin, myself and some of the other admins in the group, because I mean it's like 30,000 of you guys in the group. We have to be mindful again of what we, I mean, everybody have an opinion. I get that, but at what point does it crosses over into salacious speech? And so there were people saying, why is she there? That the show is too many black people. And that the show is turning with Mexican people on the show. Listen, CBS is creating. What'd you say? Yeah, we had to remove a ton of comments about that. Yeah, because Facebook tends to report to us. Things that shouldn't be said, what they pick up as salacious speech, things like that, especially if it's hate speech. And so we've gotten reports of that, and we have to be mindful. I mean, honestly, if how they dress is her, she's an extra. Whatever amount of money that they're paying her to be an extra,
right?
Is, you know what I mean? But we have to be mindful of what we say when it comes to people on the show. They just have her in the background. She's just strolling around, because they're trying to make it look like it's an active moving hotel. But enjoy the show. We don't have to nitpick everything. Okay?
I didn't really understand where the sudden interest in her came from, because she's not the first extra, like consistent extra that they've had on the show. I just thought it was, the posts that I saw were funny posts, like people would just post a picture of her, like a screenshot of her, and say, "There's the girl in the green dress again," and that was it. I didn't see anybody. Thankfully, didn't see any comments about there
Well,
being
you
too many
wouldn't
black
because we
people on the
removed
show and
them.
why is she
So, I
there?
mean, they don't want to. We try to keep the group where it's fun. We're talking about soaps. We're talking about the characters and things like that. So, it's a wholesome environment that we, want to maintain. And it's, I mean, if you don't like what Phyllis said or you don't like what Naya said, we get that. That's a character. But specifically making it personal to, actors and actresses,
Right.
we constantly post about that in the group. And it's just not cool. I mean, and that include even talking about Zoe, meaning
Yeah.
Kiara Barnes too. So she's hmm no, I was just
The
gonna
one
say
thing that I
she's
did.
acting.
Oh,
Kiara
sorry.
Barnes is just acting a role. It's a script. They're paying her to entertain us. Don't make it personal. That's all I'm gonna say. But go ahead.
I was gonna say the one thing that I didn't really get was why it was people were making such a big deal about her being there because um they usually use the same stand-ins in the coffee house, and I don't remember anybody
Mm-hmm.
ever bringing up the coffee house people. So the same stand-ins at
Mm-hmm.
society. It was just weird to me that all of a sudden she became a topic because she was always in the background at the Phoenix.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
that's pretty. I think what happened is somebody just noticed it, and then the narrative
Mm-hmm.
behind it just took a life of its own.
Yeah, saying there's too many black people on the show to me is outrageous. Like, what do you mean it's too many black people? Like, what is your issue with that? I don't understand. What if I don't care if the show did go to where it was 90% black? So what? If they're characters that are good actors and they're giving them, storylines or whatever, who says that it has to be one way
Yeah,
or the
and the
other?
thing is, CBS
You know
is
what I mean?
making it a diverse show. It's the same thing with Bold. It's diverse,
Yeah.
and representation across the board is an awesome thing. Whether you're from one culture or another, representation is a thing. So all I can say, because I mean I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but it came up, and we, again, as the admins in the group and things like that, we want to make it known. Please be mindful. We get it. You see folks strolling around the background. Yes, it's the same person. Yes, it might even be the same dress. But these are extras that are paid. Some people was like, at least they were saying she was being fake. She needs to speak. Why can't she speak? She's trying to get attention. That's because that's why she's in every scene. It's like, guys, the producers is the one that tells people how to move. The producers does this. It's their show. So I know we talk about it sometime in the literal sense when it comes to some of these storylines, but we always got to remember this is for entertainment purposes only, So, and these are real people
Yeah.
behind these
Yeah.
characters, whether you're an extra or whether you're Victor Newman. Okay, so all right. Did we cover everything for Young and Restless? Did we miss anything? Because you said some other little things. Because we didn't get a lot of Nate and Amanda, and we got a little bit of Faith.
Oh, yeah. So there was the one thing with Nate this week where Devon asked him
Yes.
if he would be
Mm-hmm.
a mentor for his little brother. And the reaction that Nate gave, Nate is petty. Nate is being petty right now. Because when Devon walked over and talked to him and he's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you have to say to me, you can say in front of Elena. Like making a big deal about it, for one. And he's like, okay, I'm not over here because I want to fight. Um, and then the reaction that he gave when Devon told him that Moses was looking for a mentor. He wanted to come out here so he could be, basically shadow Nate or whatever. And of course, Nate brings up the, well, I'm not exactly doing surgery anymore. Trying to throw a jab at Devon because of him being part of the cause of why he's not a surgeon, and just really cold and ugly to Devon. And I'm like, you can't be serious right now. You're still bitter and blaming him about
right
why your hand got messed up.
It sure would be.
If I was Elena, that would be a turnoff. And I was hoping that Elena would have kind of not necessarily cussed him out, but would have told him about himself. And all she really said was, "Are you upset with the message or the messenger?" And that's all she really said to him. But I wish she would have said more, because I don't know. I just thought that was,
yeah. And the other
the way
thing
he
is, I
reacted to
mean, like you
Devon.
say, Devon was trying to offer an olive branch. I mean, he could still walk around, like we were saying with Sharon. She's taking a high road. At this point, it looks like Devon is trying to move past this too. And this is your cousin. So even if Elena was to walk away today and said, "I don't want to be bothered with Devon or Nate," at the end of the day, Nate and Devon are still cousins. So you need to figure this out.
Right.
Especially if he's trying to come to you from a place of, extending an olive branch. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah, he just needs to own his role and why everything played out the way it did, and
yeah, I mean, part of what's
stop
going on
being a
with
jerk.
your hand is predicated on your behavior with his girlfriend. It is what it is.
Right.
So I mean, you trying to be mad at
Yeah.
him? Oh, I might not ever be able to be a surgeon again and use my hand, dude. This wouldn't be an issue if you hadn't messed with your cousin's girlfriend. So,
Right.
and like you said, if I was Elena, I'll be giving him the side eye. Like, really, dude, he was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know
Yep.
you might have some feelings about that. And hey, that's your feelings, but I mean, think about that. So, okay. Um, mhm.
From that whole conversation, it makes are they? I wonder if they're going to
Ah,
end up bringing
yes.
Moses onto the show, so it would be another young actor. And I couldn't tell if is he getting ready to graduate high school, or is he like just starting high school, but he just knows that he wants to be a medical professional. Because I wouldn't mind seeing them bring somebody else on that is,
Who? Face A.
what's her name?
Well, that's going to be
Face.
interesting because I don't think he's in
Yeah.
college yet. I think he's in high school from the way that it sounds.
Yeah, so it will be somebody
Yeah.
around Faith's age. Because Faith is
Yeah,
in high school.
she's
Is she a
probably about
freshman in high school? She's supposed
15.
to be a
They made it like she's about 14, 15, something around there.
yeah.
And speaking of Faith,
So
yeah, we see where this is going. I'm hoping that because they're they trying to send her to counseling. She overheard um Sharon and her father talking about Jordan. And that's the crazy thing because Sharon was trying to, wait a minute, Sharon was trying to warn Nick about Jordan, right? Or was it vice versa?
no, Nick brought it up because
Right. Okay.
he told Sharon that Phyllis
Mm-hmm.
the one that talked them together,
Okay.
but Sharon was the one that brought up counseling,
He wasn't fun.
and
Okay.
Nick
Gotcha.
seemed like he wasn't really
Yep.
ready.
So what do you think about it?
Um, I well, first of all, part of what Faith's
Mm-hmm.
issue is right now is Adam, and I don't
No,
mean
go
to
ahead.
skip
Go ahead.
scenes, but after that whole conversation about trying to figure out what Faith's issue is, or why she's acting out, you then see Adam in your coffee shop and you're just holding a conversation with him while your daughter is there because she was outside with Jordan. You're holding a conversation with Adam knowing that he's a trigger for Faith. And I know that the coffee shop is open to the public, but at the same time, you have to take your child's feelings into consideration. And I feel like she should have told Adam, you know, I don't think it's a good idea for you to come around right now. We need to figure out, you know, this whole thing with Faith, and you are a trigger for her. You got to find somewhere else to get your coffee.
Well, I think when she had that meltdown, when Mariah was there, I think Adam was by himself because he was trying to kill some time when the doctor kicked him out of the apartment when she worked with Chelsea. And he came to pick up some stuff, and of course, what are you doing here? I mean, she went off, and you know, Mariah was like, I think you need to leave. But then he came back, didn't he? And Faith, because I was like, oh, if Faith walk up in here.
Yeah, she was outside on the patio
right,
area with Jordan. She didn't see him that time. But I guess my point is Sharon knows that Adam is a trigger for Faith, and she knew Faith was there. So why are you sitting in there carrying on a conversation with him as if Faith walked through the door, it wouldn't, you know, trigger another.
Yeah, but look who else walked in the door, Ray. You know, there's obviously some undying connection between Sharon and Adam.
And she keeps, it's like she can't, I don't know. It's like, do you want to ruin your marriage, Sharon? Because there was a scene of her looking at her phone like she wanted to call.
And like I always do when I throw out nuggets, she's going to show up to Chelsea and Adam's apartment unannounced. And of course, Chelsea is having a conniption. And you'll see how she has the conniptions because I don't want to give it all away, but why are you even there? I mean, it's one thing to even say, you know, when she see Adam, it should be like, you know what? This is not a good idea coming into this coffee house. Grab your coffee and go. Or go somewhere else and get some coffee. Because Faith is right outside, just like you said. But she's texting him. And then, like I said, the nugget for Monday is that she show up to their house unannounced. It's like, why?
I don't know why you would think that's a good idea.
I mean, seriously. I mean, because it's just been, what, a couple weeks when, you know, Chelsea was having issues with Sharon and this wedding and all of this. And, of course, the whole thing happened with her being paralyzed. And you going to show up to their house? It makes zero sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
So I had to throw that out there, but that's all I'm going to throw because it goes further, but I'll let you guys wait and see that. But back to Faith, this whole thing with Jordan, because she did sneak out again and went and was drinking with Jordan again. So, yeah. And I don't even think that she even enjoys drinking. I just think she just want to be accepted and have a friend.
That's what I think too, because it seems like she lets out a big sigh every time Jordan texts her.
Right, you know, because if a kid, you know, if folks like to enjoy drinking, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we finna party. I'll bring the liquor." Blah blah blah. Faith is like, "Oh, here we go again." But I don't want to lose my friend. I really don't want to drink, but she's the only friend I got, you know. So it seems more of her trying to keep her friend versus actually drinking. And it's just so bad. So, okay. Did you have anything else?
Okay.
Cool. All right. So now we're going to switch over to the bold and the beautiful. And we had two storylines. Nothing big. Well, yeah, it was. because I'm in love with Finn right now. But and not because of him, but because of what he said. We'll get there. But yeah, we had the
Okay.
storyline with Steffi, Liam, Hope, Finn, and then of course Zoe, Zende, Carter, and Paris. Which one you want to take on first?
Yeah. We can do Hope,
Yeah, okay.
Steffi and Liam and Finn.
So, of course, we see actually Liam is in the first set of scenes where he's breaking the news to Hope. Hope was about to forgive him until that baby possibility came up. What do you think about
Yeah.
that? Because then that plays exactly into a specific narrative. But I want to get your thoughts first.
I rolled my eyes when she said, "Okay,
Uh huh.
we'll try to work past this,
Exactly.
just as long as you promise not to do it again." And it's how many times has he made that promise to you in the past? Like, where do you draw the line at, Hope? How many times do you give him? How many chances do you give him? And I guess what I saw some of the comments in the groups say is that everything that had happened in the past with Steffi had been because of misunderstandings or because somebody lied to somebody about a situation and caused them to break up and blah blah blah. And it's like, but still, Liam makes the choice every time that there is an issue with his relationship with Hope. His
Mm-hmm.
first reaction is to run to Steffi. So my if I was Hope, my thinking would be, okay, every time we have a
Mm-hmm.
problem, you run to your ex. So how do I know that the next time you think you see something or the next time we hit a bumpy road,
Exactly.
you're not going to run back to Steffi again? And this is outside of misunderstandings because there's been a couple of times where maybe there was just something that he didn't agree with on Hope, and they end up having whatever problems they have, and his first stop is going to complain
Mm-hmm.
to Steffi, and then it turns into something else. So yeah, it just it blew my mind that he had the nerve after thinking that he saw her kiss Thomas. His first reaction was to go to Steffi. He slept with her. The next morning, he doubled down and said he didn't regret it. Um, but basically, I guess because he figured his marriage was over. But you expect her to forgive you for sleeping with your ex,
Exactly.
which he wasn't willing to do for her, and she did way
Exactly.
less than what he did.
Exactly.
So yeah, he and then of course what happens? Um, he
Mm-hmm.
blamed he blamed he blamed the drinking. They had drinking. Even though when he was with Steffi, he specifically said, I know we had been drinking, but I know what I was saying, or I know what I was doing. I wasn't that drunk, or whatever it was that he
Mm-hmm.
said to Steffi the next morning. So you can't say that to her, but then turn around to Hope
Exactly.
and use that excuse because then it just looks like I don't know. I feel like then it just looks like you really didn't want to do it, but because you had been drinking, that's why it
Yeah, I
happened. That was the
mean,
only reason it
and
happened.
we talked about this a couple over the past several weeks actually in regards to Liam because he kept telling Steffi before all this came out, she's an understanding person. You know, she have a huge heart and she forgives. And sure enough, before the baby possibility came up, what was she doing? Oh yeah, we can work and we can get past it as long as you never do it again. That's why Liam does what he does. Be-
Exactly. And she said it Liam, like all Liam did was kiss Steffi. I'm like,
exactly.
he slept with another woman.
Exactly. I mean, he slept with not only another woman, but at the same time, somebody that you've had an ongoing history with.
Yeah, the one that
Exactly.
you're most worried
You
about
know,
of all.
so that's and that goes back. Liam is the problem here, you know, and that, you know, with the whole scene that, well, okay, I'll
Yeah.
get there because that came at the end of the week. But now we have the conversation
Mm-hmm.
between Steffi and Finn. Finn is definitely forgiving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where I think he has more room to be forgiving in this
Mm-hmm.
situation because his relationship with Steffi is new. And they don't have a history. Like he doesn't have a history of Steffi cheating on him um like Hope
Right.
has a history of Liam, doing things her back or whatever with Steffi. So I can understand Liam being forgiving with her.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Liam, Finn being forgiving with Steffi more than I can
Yeah,
understand why
I
Hope would
totally
forgive Liam
agree.
again.
And he was like, "Okay, I'm glad you told me the truth." Because I think Steffi was kind of shocked. I don't know if she expected the worst. She thought that her situation was about to be over. And he was definitely
Yeah.
accommodating, you know, to say, you know, what am I supposed to do with this information? You slept with your ex husband, blah, blah, blah. But then he got to the point of, you know
Yep.
what? We can get past this. And then when she told him about the baby, he was excited, even with the possibility that
Yep.
he's the father, a 50% chance that he's the father. He's holding on to that.
Yeah. What I was hoping that he was gonna say was what he was gonna say to her was, even if this baby turns out to
Mm-hmm.
be Liam, or at least I was hoping he was gonna ask her, if this baby turns out to be Liam's baby, do you still want to be with me, or are you gonna try to basically talk him into having a family
Mm-hmm.
with you since you guys have two kids now? I was hoping that he would have asked her that because I was hoping that he was also going to tell her, even if the baby is Liam's, that he still wanted to be with her and help her raise it, which would be, of course, a lot
Mm-hmm.
in real life for a man to do. And I know it's
Mm-hmm.
not realistic, but we're talking about the soaps here. I was just hoping that he would say that. That way, um, there would be no excuse for her to backslide to Liam
Gotcha.
again if the baby ends up
Yeah,
being
that
his.
would have been interesting. But I do see that, um, well, that comes up later too because there's a conversation between Hope and Finn. But yeah, I agree with you. He should have asked that question. If this kid belongs to Liam, what are we doing? Are you hoping to work all that out with him having
Yeah.
two kids with you, or are we going to try to raise this kid together, but he be a part of this kid's life too? Yeah, so I agree with you on that one.
Right.
Well, let's move forward
Yeah.
because now Hope finds out that there's a baby involved and that Liam is possibly the father. She was not happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not at
let me
all.
ask you a question then. What really made the difference? It was more about him having a kid with her versus the act itself because she was willing to take him back and move past if it was just sex. But now the baby is here and it's a totally different story. So is the gravity more toward this baby versus him having sex with her anyway?
I feel like it is because maybe she's thinking now you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have two kids and I'm only gonna have one kid with Liam.
Ah,
So now
okay,
you're
that's a
gonna
good.
have more of
Okay,
his attention.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
that
a
was what my
lot
thought
of
was.
sense.
And you're gonna have 9 months of him because we know how Liam is. You're gonna have 9 months of him spending time with you at doctor's appointments, and you guys are gonna go through this whole experience together.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, because that
yeah,
means he would have to be more
probably
involved
make
with
it a
her
little
than
harder.
what he already is. So that makes sense. Because now she's like, oh
Yeah,
man, now I'm really going to be deeply tied into her. And our family's going to really be deeply more tied than what it is because of the fact that, and I mean, that whole situation with Hope and Liam is pretty interesting because they got Thomas's son over there. Then they got a kid together with Beth, with of course Beth, and then Liam also got a kid with Steffi with Kelly. It's I'm hoping that they make this baby Finn's. I really do. They need to get Liam
me
out of
too.
that orbit. And honestly,
Yeah, I
like you
agree.
said, the end of last year, I honestly think that Liam needs to be by himself. You know,
Yeah,
but the thing is, Hope.
he definitely
Go ahead. What you
needs
say?
to be alone. I'm tired. Oh, just saying, he definitely needs to be alone because I'm
Yeah,
tired of
but
him
the thing
and his
is, I don't.
bullshit.
It's going to be probably not because Hope keeps saying we got to do everything we can do for these kids and our family. So she don't want him out there by himself. She want
Yeah.
him actively in the house, involved with these children. So, all
Yep.
right. So we okay. So Hope's not happy with the pregnancy. Finn is okay with the pregnancy, just as long as he figure out who's the father. Cause he was like, "There's only one thing we gotta do. We just gotta
Right.
get a paternity test." And she looking like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
So I
right.
feel like those
And
two
I'm
are gonna be
hoping,
fine as long
please,
as it's his.
writers, I'm hoping Finn is his kid. Don't give Liam no more kids by this girl. All right. So
Right.
why do I don't and I've said this before in previous podcast shows, folks need to lock their doors. Liam, I'm telling you, these people walk up in each other's house as if they live there. And what happened? Liam walks into Steffi house just because she hears him talking outside,
Well,
and so Steffi's looking like, oh Lord.
yeah.
And he just walk in the door, would peek
Yeah,
his
you're
head
right.
in,
He
and
did
like
just
one
walk
of
in, get
the
ready.
people on Facebook said, "Dude, you just went through it with your wife. Why are you over there?"
Right.
It's like you just you trying to get your wife back in the right mindset. Y'all trying to work through this. She just got the shock factor, and you go right back over to Steffi's house, trying to figure out what's going on over there. Here's the thing. She was
Right.
supposed to be telling Finn. Who's to say that you just stop over there by the house and she ain't in there talking to him? Unannounced.
Right.
And
Unannounced.
that's why I said these girls need to
Mm-hmm.
put boundaries down with this dude. I mean, yes, you got a kid over, but there's a such thing as a cell phone. Call over there. Hey, look, how you? Because
Right.
what he said to Steffi, he could have actually said over the phone. Hey, how'd it go? Did you talk to Finn? Whatever. You ain't have to come over there.
Yeah. Right.
So, what's your thoughts on that? I
Yep.
know
You are
I'm
exactly
talking and
right.
rambling. What you?
No, I agree. I couldn't believe that he went back over to her house this soon after telling Hope what happened. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is why you get in trouble, Liam.
Mm.
There's no need for you to be over there at all, especially when you didn't even call. And then for Steffi to,
With
after
him
they
in
had their
it.
conversation, to leave the house and yeah, with him in it, knowing she had to know that Finn was
Yeah,
out back
that's crazy. Cause I
at the
thought about
beach.
that. Cause I'm like, how did Finn just come through the back door?
Yeah, my thought was that Finn was already there. He was because there's been several times where we've seen Finn come in from the
Okay.
back because he'd been down at the beach.
Yeah. So why would?
Hanging
That's the
out.
thing. She should have been like,
So my
look,
thought,
Finn will be up any minute. You need to be gone. You need to leave. She just left him in the house.
mhm,
That says a lot to me. It's
Right.
like y'all way too comfortable, especially after going through what you just went through.
Right. And that was basically the reaction that
Yeah.
Finn had. I can't believe that you're over here right now.
Yeah,
What are
he
you
was like, "What are you doing here? Why are you here?" And then Liam has this entitlement because he got
Yeah.
kids with these girls, and they've been letting him come in and out of these houses and things like that. He was like, "Well, I do have a daughter with her," and it's like, Kelly ain't here. So again, why are you here?
Yeah. Exactly. And that was that Finn did they did a good job of having Finn bring that up to him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be boundaries, especially if that baby is mine. There's going to be some boundaries, and it ain't going to be no more you just popping up over here hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
unannounced whenever you want.
Yep. I mean, yeah, Liam was like,
I,
I feel bad, everything you telling me, I've already been through myself. Okay, but then you need to leave. Why are you still standing? And he turned around looking at that picture on the wall. That's how he got caught up. Because he had his back turned to the back door because he was busy staring at that picture of him and Steffi. That picture is going to be their downfall.
mm-hmm. I can't believe that was the other thing that made me mad. You just told your boyfriend, who you claim to be in love with, and who you're hoping is the father of your unborn child, about cheating on him with your
Exactly.
ex, and you still didn't take that damn picture down. That would have been the
And
first thing that I would have
especially
done
because
was
he's
take that
bringing the
picture down
picture up.
before I told him.
Because he told her,
Right.
that's the problem right there. You got this picture sitting up in the house of your ex
Yep.
husband and you. It's not even a picture of him, her, and Kelly. It's just a picture of the two of them.
Just, and it's like, is this like ringing any
Mm-hmm.
bells in your head, Steffi? Because this is the first time that someone has said something to her about that picture. And as much as Hope annoys me, everything that she said to Steffi when they had their little face to face about that picture,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
agree with.
why
She
do
was right.
they haven't been together in over almost 2 years? If we took the timeline that the storyline
Right.
played out, because Hope and Hope had that baby Beth, I think at the end of 18 going into 19. So obviously Liam and Hope has been together over a year now. Why you still got that picture on that wall? And the
Right.
fact that you got a whole dude you in a relationship with, and you still got that picture there. I'm surprised Finn haven't said anything about that picture already. A while ago.
I think they've only, yeah, I think they've only had like one conversation about the
Mm-hmm.
picture, and Finn was way too nice about it. Because basically saying it doesn't matter if that picture is up there. I know I'm the man you love or whatever. I'm the man in your life or whatever it was he said to her. And I'm
Nah,
like, mm-mm.
and because he was
Yep.
staring at that picture. Right.
Yep. And her
I
old
mean,
goofy
after
butt
him
still didn't take
saying
it down.
something twice about it, that picture should have went out. And then to make it worse, Liam coming up in there unannounced. He's still there after Steffi goes off to work, and Finn catches him in the house staring at that picture.
Right.
Yes.
I loved
Mm-hmm.
every bit of what Finn said to him about how it wasn't about him coming over to talk to Steffi because he needed somebody to talk to. He came over there because he wanted her. And he was still in love. He's still in love
Yep,
with her, or
and
whatever it
and
was that
I'm
he said.
glad that Finn also brought up the fact that from the get go, he was the one that was trying to undermine their relationship. He brought a lot, girl. He dropped a lot of facts in
Yeah.
that conversation. I was sitting up there.
Yep,
I
he
was
did.
looking like, yep, yep. You tell him, Finn. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. She said, "Is you never had what? How did he end it? He said, you'll never have, as long as I'm in the picture, something he said. Oh my gosh. It was good.
Remember how he worded it either,
It
but it
was
was
really
good.
good. I'm like, you go, boy. Tell him where to go. Because Liam has been having a field day. And it was interesting that Finn brought up, see, this is what Thomas been telling me all the time.
Yeah, he did bring that
Exactly.
up. And of course, Liam rolled his eyes or whatever. But Thomas was right. As
Mm-hmm.
unstable as Thomas has been, one thing that he's always been right about is the way that Liam backslides to
Right, and it's
Steffy
vice
every
versa.
time
The
him and Hope
moment
have
that
problems.
something goes, just when he's with Steffi, the moment something go wrong, he backslides the Hope. He do it to both of those girls because they allow
Yeah.
him to.
Yep. Yeah. And there was nothing that he could say about it. He tried to make an excuse, but I mean, there's really nothing that he can say because
Yep, it's what
it's the
he
truth.
does. I
It's
can't
what he
wait till
does.
Thomas find out about it. I want to see what his thoughts is. And
I know.
while we speaking about Thomas, that boy back at work already. Yeah, they did.
They took
So
the little bandage off his
I
hand
thought that
too.
was pretty interesting. Okay, so let's move on to the office scene with Steffi and Hope. Hope was pissed. But I'm like, Hope,
Yeah.
2 minutes ago, before finding out that baby, you was going to stay with him. What are you talking about? She ain't
Right.
going nowhere.
And she still is. She ain't going
Nope.
nowhere. Even if that baby turns out to be Liam. If Liam says that he still wants to be with Hope, Hope is still going to
Listen,
be
I
around.
think that Steffi definitely got some responsibility in this thing because she should have told when Liam showed up at her door, broke down everything that was going on. She should have sent him out the door looking for his wife. And even with it was drinking, call a Uber, call a Lyft, call a car. Y'all got all this money. Send that boy back home to his wife. However,
Right.
Liam has a lot of culpability in this because, like Finn said, why the heck, when you saw what you thought you saw with Thomas and you thought Hope was in there, why you didn't confront them? You don't just sneak back out the door and go back to Steffi's. That makes no sense. And
Right.
Hope made it sound like,
Yep.
oh yeah, you've been waiting for this moment. You've been longing for him. He went to her house. Granted, yes, she should have stopped him and sent him packing, which she did tell him to go home and talk to her. But a lot of this is on your husband.
Yeah. I put
Yep.
90% of this on Liam because, like you said, Liam went back to Steffi's house, which he shouldn't have done. Even if he didn't confront what he thought was Thomas kissing Hope,
Right.
he definitely should not have gone over to Steffi's house. He went back to Steffi's house. And then he starts pouring out his feelings about Steffi to her, including telling her that he's jealous of her and Finn. Including telling her, I gave up all of this. I can't believe I gave up everything that I did to be with Hope. Talking about Steffi, and also,
yep,
making the first move.
He knew exactly what he
knew
was doing.
He knew. He knew. Yep, and he knew that he knows how Steffi feels about him. Steffi has never hit her feelings for Liam. The picture being the prime example of how Steffi still feels about Liam. Never hit that from anybody. So Liam knew telling her all of that stuff, what that was going to lead to. So yes, while Steffi is an adult and she could have told him no, she didn't tell him no, but she also didn't initiate
all of that.
He initiated all of that. He wanted all of that. But we all knew that it was going to happen this way. We all knew that Hope and eventually Brooke, when they confronted Steffi about this, that they were going to blame her for it. Because one of the things I Hope also said to her was, um, basically made it sound like
Exactly.
Steffi forced him to drink. Like
You
how
know,
many drinks did you pour? And it's like I sit there and hold a gun to Liam's head and tell him to drink
he's a
alcohol.
grown
Liam did that
man.
on his own. He is a grown man. And talking about finally getting what she wants and sabotaging her marriage. And it's like, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
honey, Liam is sabotaging your marriage because Liam's been forced, and Liam does what he's always done in the past, which was
Yeah.
run back to the he's not with when they're in trouble. When he thought his marriage was over and done with. So what he did was run to his ex, because now that you're not in the
With
picture,
Steffi, that's his
he
default
wants to be
person.
back with Steffi.
Yeah, she made it look like she was
Yeah.
like Steffi was like the one that was the chaser, the organizer, all of that. Huh?
Like, yeah, like she tried to make it seem as if Steffi
Yeah.
set it up for that
And
to
she
happen.
wasn't letting Steffi get a word in edgewise either.
I know, and it was frustrating because I wanted so badly for Steffi to tell her
Mm-hmm.
all of the stuff that Liam was saying to her that night. And that was how I wished that when I said this before, was before it came out that they slept together, that I was
Mm-hmm.
hoping that it would have come out a different way, so it wouldn't be so much so of Hope trying to blame Steffi and her actually hearing all of the stuff
Yeah.
that Liam was saying to
Yeah.
Steffi that
Because
night.
I mean, she did say, I love Finn. That's who I want to be with. He wants to be with you, and blah blah blah. And Hope was like, okay, you claimed you love him, but you still slept with my husband. So I mean, I'm like,
Yeah.
because the moment they brought this guy that plays Finn onto the scene, I was so excited about it because of the fact that I'm like, okay, she ain't got to fool around with Liam no more, blah, blah, blah. He's a doctor. She's a CEO.
Right.
This is great. She can have a whole separate life. We saw Liam get jealous. Okay, cool. I was here for that too. But to throw him back into the middle of this and now this baby situation came up, because I think you were the one that really was like, who the father storyline you wasn't really happy with, right? It, yeah. Because I
I
mean, now
wasn't at
we
all.
realize that Finn and Steffi are probably going to stay together. And then it seems like Hope was going to stay with him into this baby thing, but more than likely, like you just said, she ain't going nowhere. The biggest thing that's going to come out of this is
Yeah.
who's the father, and then the other thing is what happens when Thomas finds out.
Yes. Which I'm hoping that it
Yeah, I'm
doesn't take
hoping that
Thomas back
too. And
down
at the
the.
same time, I'm glad that they didn't end up putting Hope and Finn together, because a lot of people were speculating, like, oh my God, this is going to break both of them up, and then Hope and Finn is going to end up with, I mean, end up together. And I'm like, oh no, please. Right.
Yeah, I
So it
definitely
looks
don't want
like
that to
that's
happen.
not going to happen, at least right now. So we
Yeah.
shall see. So, but overall, I would say I love the fact that Finn read Liam the riot act and handed him his face. That was my favorite part of
Yes,
the
that was my
week.
favorite part.
He couldn't say nothing to that. Yeah, so. All right, so
Nope.
is that everything? We covered
Yep.
everything with that whole quad, I should say. Okay. Let's move on to
Yeah.
this whole thing with Zoe and Paris and Carter and Zende. Look at it, we both quiet, like we don't even know where to start.
Mhm.
Where you want to start with that, girl? You want to start with the conversation between Paris and Zoe at the beginning of the week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was Zoe again
Yeah.
just being so nasty to Perry. Ending again, once again, talking about
Yeah.
you defied my wishes, and it's like.
Yeah,
This
I
is her,
mean,
not yours.
yeah,
And he
ooh,
wasn't
but
honest with
oof,
her.
girl.
Which I was happy that Paris said what, like, I hear
Mm-hmm.
she's
Are
finally
you
catching, I
jealous?
think, catching on.
Mm-hmm. Because there's no
Yeah. Are you
reason if they
jealous?
really don't have any issues outside of that. Why are you acting this way? You know,
Right.
and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Paris is like, okay, it's something bigger going on with this. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
With her about it.
yeah, I'm glad Paris stood up for herself and told her, yeah, I'm taking this
Me
job,
too.
so be it.
I was
What you
happy to
gonna
see
do?
that.
I mean, it's not like unless, I mean, honestly, unless she set something in motion, you know, to get her fired. I'm sorry about that. That's water. But unless she set
Right.
something in motion to get her fired, what
Oh
can
no.
you do, Zoe? Nothing. You
Right.
barely
Nothing.
got the job yourself, you know.
Did you send me something? Somebody sent me something, or I read something about,
Mm-hmm.
um, and this is a spoiler, about you catching on to what Zoe,
Who's gonna catch on?
I guess maybe Ridge finally catching on to that maybe Zoe isn't
Oh,
truly like in love with
no, I
Carter or
haven't
something like
seen
that.
that. That would be interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't say. Yeah, and it didn't say how. Like, I don't know if he overhears the conversation or if he just
Mm-hmm.
finally catches on to the obvious wording, or I don't know. But that
Okay,
was
I'm
like
gonna
a
look out for
spoiler that
that.
I read somewhere. I don't,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty
I don't know if it'll
interesting.
actually happen, but it was just something.
Pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm glad that Paris stood up for herself and told her, you know, she's trying to tell her you didn't abide by my wishes. I'm like, I'm grown. I do what I want to do. And this is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah,
And you want me to turn it down. Why? And she won't say. Then it comes out
right.
that, you know, her and Zende kissed. And girl, she looked like she was about to. She was not happy
Oh
about
yeah, she
that.
was
She
not.
was like, oh my God. I was like, girl, you going to be all right?
You know, one of the things that Paris said, um, when she was talking to her, and she said something about, it was after she said, "Are you jealous?"
Mm-hmm.
And Zoe was like, "What do I have to be jealous about? I have a great job. Um, I'm engaged. I have a
Mm-hmm.
fiance who is the CFO of Forrester." And Paris was like, "Why do you always bring that
Mm-hmm.
up? Why do you bring up his title?" Basically, it was like she was
Right. Exactly.
insinuating, like,
Why do
"Are
you
you
keep bringing
using
that
him
up?
or
Mm-hmm.
status?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was pretty
I
interesting.
thought
Yeah,
that
she
was funny
called
when
her
she
on
said
that,
that.
but
Yeah,
um, I'm glad she took the job. But then now that moves on
me too.
to her having a conversation with Zende.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts?
Um, I feel like Zende should have been more, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
forceful about the situation is the right word, but I felt like when they were talking, they were still
Um.
going around in circles. Like, just come straight out and say, are you interested in Zoe or are you not? Like, I didn't want to hear the Carter, my friend, you guys are engaged. We're not talking about that. Tell me, are you interested or are you not interested? That way you guys can figure out what's going on and move on. Either you want to figure this out with her and you want to tell her not to marry Carter, or you want to move on with Paris and find out if maybe there's something between you and Paris. Like, stop with the back and forth and
Yeah,
the codes and all that kind of stuff.
it's almost like he's trying to deny himself and he's looking for a reason out of the situation because he's backed in the corner. You got feelings for Zoe because he does. He started out that way. And at the same time, now here come Paris. You
Yeah.
just kissed her, and you got some kind of feelings for her too. So, the person
Right.
that is with Carter is like, what should I do? What do you think about me? Should I be with you? What do you? And he's like, no, I can't hurt Carter. Dude is trying to find a way out of giving an answer because he can't. I mean, it would mean
Yeah.
denouncing one of those two girls. Mm-hmm.
And that's what was annoying, was that he was, instead of just answering the question, he was trying to find a way around it. And she wasn't asking, um, like, well, I guess really,
Mm-hmm.
even with her, even with Zoe,
Right.
either you want to be with Carter or you don't want to be with him, because to Zende, it can't be a
And that's
I
what it
only want to
sounds
be
like,
with
don't
Carter
it?
because I can't have Zende. Because
Mm-hmm.
it does, because then you really don't love Carter
Mm-hmm.
if it's that easy, you
Because
know. So
just like you said, that makes perfect sense. Because if the question should be, are you marrying Carter? And Zoe made it sound like it's depending on the fact of what you want to do. Now, if you want me,
right,
let's, because she even said that. Wouldn't you be open to exploring what that could be like? And I'm like, so what are you saying? Are you finna dump this dude?
that's my thing. Like the fact that she said that tells you right there that you just need to
Yeah,
go break up with
because what's
Carter
going to
regardless
happen
of what
is
Zende
that,
said.
okay, if Zende says, nope, you know what, I just say he said no because I did have feelings, but I don't now, and I like your sister, and I'm going to see that. Then all she's going to do is
Yeah,
use Carter as the default guy. Because he's like, okay, well, I
exactly.
don't want to be without no dude. At least this dude want me, so I guess I'll go settle for him, which ain't cool because that's not fair to Carter. He wants to be with somebody that is into him as much as he is into her. You know, and she definitely is not.
And she obviously is not. And that's why I was hoping that he would have. Um, I was hoping that he would have said to her, like, it doesn't. It doesn't matter how I feel. You need to figure out your feelings because
Mm-hmm.
you're the one that's engaged, and you're the one who obviously doesn't know how you truly feel about your fiance
I mean,
because
it's
you're in here having this
disrespectful
conversation with
on
me.
both her sister and on Carter. You already know that your this dude, and I mean, he obviously is playing two sides of the fence too. Both of them. I mean, both of them
Yeah, he is for sure.
need to take a step back. Either Zoe go and tell Carter, look, you know what, I'm having some residual feelings. I don't know if I want to do this. I need to be honest. And then Zende needs to say, you know what, Paris, I know I kissed you, but I got to sort through my feelings. I got some other stuff going on. This ain't maybe the right time to do this. And then figure it out. But again, this is a soap opera. So,
Yep, and that's why they're in the position that they're in now, because in the
mm-hmm.
beginning, before her and Carter even engaged, all they were doing was this back
Yeah, they
and
were
forth,
flirting.
like little cutesy kind of flirty stuff with each other instead of just coming
Exactly.
out and saying, I'm interested. And then here you go, Carter proposes, and instead of Zoe turning him down, which doesn't make
Yeah,
sense, she
what she
accepts it,
doing is
knowing that
trying
she's got
to
feelings for him.
make sure she got what they say. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because she
A
know that
safety
she
net.
wants both these dudes and she needs the security of whatever, because that's why they keep highlighting the fact that Carter is the CFO. So she looking at this as either I can
Right.
be with Zende Forrester or be with Carter the CFO. You know what I mean? So, and it's just so unfortunate because I hate that whole I'm with you cause of the money thing is just ugh. I never like storylines like that. But again, it's a soap. Um, But
Right.
yeah, they, like you said, they were just playing around. Nobody wanted to answer the question. She don't want to make a true decision. He don't want to make a true decision. They both give an excuse. Well, she was a little bit more forward than he was, but he was like, "Carter's my friend. I can't hurt my friend.
Yeah.
That's my friend." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, you need to tell Zoe where to go. Either, because she needs to know that you don't want to be bothered with
Right.
her if you truly don't." Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly.
Mm,
All this
yeah,
ambiguous
exactly.
talking.
Um, and I think that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Yeah. So clearly,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like after that scene, I think that
You don't think they're
Zoe and
gonna make
Carter are
it?
gonna make it.
Mm-mm.
So, mm-mm.
But how do you think it's gonna
No,
what's
I
the
don't think they're gonna
fallout
make
gonna
it.
be? You think she's gonna be the one to hit rock bottom because she get found out? Or do you think that her and Zende is gonna cheat?
No, I don't think Zende. I don't think. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it'll be a cheating situation. I feel like my prediction is
Mm-hmm.
that Zende will tell her to marry Carter. I think Zendaya is going to try to move on with Paris, and then I think someone is going to like if this little the spoiler that I read about Ridge is correct. I think somehow somebody's going to find out that Zoe has feelings for Zendaya and is going to clue
Oh, you
Carter
think Carter
into
gonna
it,
drop
and
kick
Carter is
her?
going to break up with her. Yep,
Okay.
I think he's going to find out. He's going to break up with Zoe. And I hope that Zoe gets left out in the cold
Yeah, I would
because
like to
I
see
want
where that
Zendaya to
go
move
with
on with
Zende
Paris.
and Paris. Yeah,
Yeah, me too. I feel like her feelings are more, and I mean, I don't think that Zoe was completely like wanting to deal with Zendaya because he's a forester, but I think that
Mm-hmm.
she is impressed by status. I think that's important to her. And with Paris, she's not. She doesn't give off that vibe. Like I think she likes Zendaya because it's
Mm-hmm.
Zendaya, not because his last name is Forrester. So I would much rather see Zendaya and Paris end up together than Zoe and Zendaya. And then I still stick by my shit of Carter and
You
Donna.
think
I
so?
think they should put Carter and Donna together.
Hmm. I'm surprised
Yeah.
they haven't tried that so far. I honestly, what was the guy that played
Yeah. Me too.
Bill Spencer's attorney?
Oh,
Yeah, I honestly like him
what's
and
his name?
Donna together.
Justin.
I hate that they didn't
I
explore
did
that
too.
further when Texas was
I like.
on screen.
Yeah. I feel like they had them together for at least what a year or two because they neither
Right.
one of them have ever really been on screen like that often. And then they like broke up at some point when they would always have their
Mm-hmm.
little recurring roles.
Yeah, but
But
you
yeah, I did
tried to
like them
ship
together.
Carter and Steffi together at
I
one
feel
point.
like I did when there was like no indication that they were bringing anybody on for Steffi. I thought that they would have been a good pairing, but now that they brought someone on for her, I feel like they can
Okay.
put Carter and Donna together to give her like something. Give her, I don't
Okay.
know. I feel like
Cool.
it will add to both their storylines.
All right, so that sums up everything from both The Young, the Restless, and The Bold and the Beautiful from the week of January 11th through the 15th. It was a pretty good week, I would say, especially on Bold, because I like what Finn had to say when it came to Liam. Somebody other than Thomas was able to tell him about himself.
Yeah,
You talking about, and
long
when
overdue.
Finn said years, I was sitting back saying, yeah, since 2008. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Okay, so let's move into our flip the script segment. As I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, flip the script is when we take a scene or a storyline and flip it in a direction that we think would be interesting and see how it would go. So, what's your flip the script for Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful?
My Y&R flip the script is
Mm-hmm.
the scene between Victoria and Billy when she told Billy that her meeting got canceled and she was hoping
Mm-hmm.
that they could all go together as a family. I would rather have seen Billy say, no, thank you. You know, I already had plans set tonight. You go ahead and take the kids
Right.
ice skating.
Oh,
I can
that would
take
have
them
been
ice skating
cool.
another day.
Victoria would be looking crazy.
We're the one brought up. Mm-hmm. And since
Mm-hmm.
she was the one that brought it up to the kids, she could explain why. I guess that would be mean. I mean, I guess he could
Mm-hmm.
tell the kids that he's not going anymore, but
And
still,
what's your one for
I
Bold?
don't know. So, and then my flip the script for Bold was, and that scene with Steffi and Hope when Hope is accusing her of trying to sabotage her marriage and basically trying to make it seem like Steffi
Mm-hmm.
instigated the
Mm-hmm.
whole incident between her and Liam. I wished that Steffi would have said, look, yep, I was wrong for what I did, but let me tell you all the stuff that your husband was telling you that night
That's a
when
good
he
one.
thought that your marriage was over. And just started saying all of the
Mm-hmm.
repeating all of the lines that Liam was throwing at her when she told Liam, no, you just need to go find Hope and talk to her.
Yeah.
I think that would
Yeah.
have
You need to go
humbled
check
Hope
your
really
husband.
quick had she had. And also, a lot of people have been saying how um, he didn't use protection
Mm-hmm.
with Steffi and Steffi's a homewrecker, blah blah blah. But the same incident happened between her and Liam when
Yep.
Liam thought that he and Steffi's marriage was over. That very night, he goes
Yep.
and sleeps with Hope with no protection, and she gets pregnant. While he,
It works
Steffi,
both
so
ways.
yeah, she can't
Mm-hmm. Okay. So my flip
exactly.
the script on Young and the Restless is in regards to Adam and Sharon. Adam needs to tell Sharon needs to tell Adam, you know what? You have to limit being in my daughter's here, you have to limit, come and go, long term conversations because you're a trigger for her. I don't want a meltdown. She's going through a lot. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
here hanging around like you're doing. Yeah, she needs to tell him where to go. On
Yeah.
Bold, my flip the script would be in the
Yeah.
moment where Finn was talking to Steffi. If you want, if I would have wanted him to tell Steffi, you want us to move forward, you want to be with me, I'm gonna need you to take that picture down.
Yeah. Yeah, that girl
You say
ultimatum
that you
about that
love
picture.
me, we're in a relationship, I'm the new guy in your life. You need to set some boundaries with your ex-husband. I know he's the father of your daughter, but you need to set some boundaries. And that picture, I don't know what you're gonna do with it, but why is it here? I'm in the house with you all the time, and I have to come in here and see a picture of you and your ex, biggest life on the wall,
Yeah.
and see what her neck, because that's gonna
Yep.
tell a lot. That picture is a catalyst. That's why everybody's so focused on it with their conversations with each other. Is she gonna be willing to do that? Because she just walked out of there and didn't take it down. After all of everything he said, everything that has happened,
Right.
he even brought the picture up and there's like, you know what? I'll take it down. I'll show you that I'm committed to doing this. He's my ex. He's an ex for a reason. Blah blah blah. Nope. So I would have had Finn call her to task on that photo. Yeah. So okay. So we had a
Yeah.
great
I like
show.
that one.
Um, I think Gloria on the Young and the Restless. Gloria's coming into town next week. We have some tense moments with Chelsea, Sharon, and Adam. And then on The Bold and the Beautiful, of course, is a continuation of this whole quad. and everything. Hopefully, we'll get to see. Maybe we'll get Summer and them on the Bold side of things. We're seeing Wyatt on the Young and the Restless side of things, but hopefully, we'll get some more interaction from like Summer and Kyle on the Bold side of things. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but But that's pretty much all I have. Did you have anything else? Ooh.
I think
Okay,
Brooke
well, we know
confronts
how that's
Steffi
going to
next
go.
week, so
Yeah. We already know.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, I would prefer her to confront
It'll be
Liam.
another blame game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I
Yep,
enjoyed the
exactly.
show, and until next time, you can catch us not only on the podcast, but you can now catch us on YouTube. So just look up CBS Soap Dish Recap on YouTube, and you can hear our podcast there as well. And you can comment there as well. We had 50 views on the video last week, so go over there and check that out. I meant to tell you about it, but um, until next week, we will.
Okay.
Hey, good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
and welcome, welcome, welcome. How was your week?
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Nothing
same.
exciting.
All right, same here, same here. And welcome you guys to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where we recap both the previous week of both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful. And for this week, it was the week of January 11th through the 18th, I think. Wait a minute, no. What was yesterday's date? I think Monday is
Um,
the 18th.
yeah, Monday's the 18th. Yesterday
The
was
15th.
the 15th.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that, guys. January 11th through the 15th. So we had a pretty interesting week. I will say that I think, in my opinion, Bold and the Beautiful had a lot more interest for me than Young and the Restless. What about you?
Um, I there were actually a couple of things on Young and the Restless I thought were pretty interesting that happened this week. I mean, of
Okay.
course, I agree. Bold and the Beautiful probably was like above them as far as what was going on with Steffi and Liam, but
Mm-hmm.
there were a couple of things I think that happened on Y&R that were pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay. Okay. Well, let's jump into this. So just to let you know, if you're new here, we usually start off the show with reviewing the Young and the Restless, especially because it has more content and it's an hour-long show, in versus Bold and the Beautiful, which we do in the second half of the recap, as it be a half an hour show. And then at the end of our show on this podcast, we do something that's called Flip the Script. And what that is if in fact you find a particular storyline or a particular scene that you would rewrite or flip that particular script, and we, of course, comment on what our idea would be for that. So that's how that goes. So without further ado, let's start with this recap of The Young and the Restless. Now we have, let's see, how many storylines do we have on The Young and the Restless for this week?
We had the main one. I feel like was the Billy and Kyle and Summer out
Mm-hmm.
on the plane, and then Amanda talking to her mom,
Yep.
and then maybe a little bit of the
Yeah.
Victoria Phyllis blackmail kind of thing, and then just like some other little small things that happened. I
Yeah,
guess
and mm-hmm.
Faith might have been, I guess, another kind of big
Yeah,
one.
briefly. I mean, I guess the biggest two storylines was the first two you talked about, and I think that's probably why I was not like overwhelmed by, oh wow, this was a good week, because we only got those two big things with Naya and Amanda and her sister Imani, and then of course, like you say, with Kyle and Summer going off to LA and the whole thing getting stuck in the plane with Billy and all of that. So which one did you want to try first?
Um, I think we can get into the one with Billy and Billy, Lily, Kyle, and Summer.
Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna let you start. What is your opinion on how all of this is going down? Do you find it interesting? Do you find it kind of hypocritical when it comes to Summer? What's your thoughts about that?
As far as which part?
Well, okay, so it's one thing, I guess, because of the fact that Summer feels that Sally is undermining her in regards to, JCV and everything. Instead of trying to make peace or figure out a way to work together, she wants to basically kind of blow her out the water by uncovering whatever these secrets are back in LA. How do you feel about okay, just that part?
Oh, okay. Um, I think I don't really think she needs to do all that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she's Summer Newman. Sally isn't going to take away anything that she has. Um,
Exactly.
so I think for Summer, I think it's more of she just wants to find something that will completely get rid of Sally from her business life. And if she can find something, I guess that's what she plans to do with it. But I think that I think that if Sally would have continued down the path of what she was doing, like stirring up, you know, kind of stirring up trouble,
Mm-hmm.
she was going to take care of that herself. She would have probably just shot her own self in the foot because she doesn't know how to back off.
Right.
So I think whatever she finds out from
Mm-hmm.
Wyatt or from Bill, for some reason it's not going to work in her favor. I think she'll end up they'll end up still looking past it,
Yeah.
Jackie and Lauren.
Yeah, I agree. The interesting thing is that it's Summer trying to do that. Now, I could see if it was maybe somebody else, but Summer has a sordid past, as her, dealing with the older, I think, married guy running off stealing his car. I mean, so she's not far from reproach. And then, of course, now she wants to uncover any secrets back in LA to blow her out the water. And the fact that look like we might be, because I know you and I talked about this in the past of the whole thing with Billy and Summer
Mm-hmm.
and how that's going to come out and nobody's ever brought it back up again. I mean, we have that in itself where she purposely sought out to undermine her mom because of her being mad, and of course Billy being mad, and they both slept together to stick it to Phyllis. So I mean, it's one thing if she was not hypocritical. I'll just say it like that. To me, it was kind of like, really, Summer, you going through all this to try to dig up dirt when you got a whole bunch of dirt in your backyard too.
Yeah, but they don't care about that on.
I know, but it's just speaking on the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, of course, with the drama part of it, and them trying to bring and cross this thing over, because the biggest thing about this is crossing the two shows over. So I know that there are some fans that watch one of each of the shows and maybe not both.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're kind of bridging the two, and I'm wondering if this is a way probably to gain viewers across the board. Maybe, I mean,
Possibly.
it's a strategic move in the hands of the executive producers if that's what they're trying to do. So,
Yeah.
but I just thought it was interesting that Summer is doing this just out of conversation piece. So,
I guess I didn't look at it that way. I don't know. I don't that it doesn't really. I guess it doesn't really that part of it doesn't really bother me because
oh, okay.
um I mean we can say the same thing about Kyle and all the little devious stuff that he used to do back in the day too.
Mm-hmm.
Um so I don't know.
Okay.
And it's Sally, and it's not like Sally hasn't had her moments where she's before she was kind of redeemed on Bold and Beautiful. She did some other sneaky stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, for those that don't watch the show, Sally does have a sordid history. I mean, even before, if any of you guys, well, I don't want to spoil it because that part, even though we've been through it watching The Bold and the Beautiful, if you don't watch it, it'll probably come out through Summer's reveal. But even things further back in the past with dealing with Liam, Steffi's husband at the time, being in that building with Liam and things like that. I mean, it's a lot that Sally participated in. She was the type of character that shook things up.
Yeah.
So
When she was still in the design secrets.
yeah. I mean, I forgot about that part too.
Mm-hmm.
When she was stealing designs by using her sister.
Yeah.
So yeah, she got a history. She definitely has a history. And I'm curious if with this crossover that they're going to have them bring all of it up, or is it just going to be the recent stuff that happened?
I feel like it's just going to be the more recent stuff because
Yeah.
all had already forgiven her for the stuff that she did to Forrester business wise in the past.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But okay, so let's back up a little bit because we're now talking at the point where she actually talked to Wyatt and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
What about the conversation between Billy and Summer and of course Lily overhearing it um on the plane? Because that's something that even though it seems like Kyle knows about it, do you remember her telling Kyle about it?
Yeah, I totally forgot that Kyle knew about that. I was thinking that he didn't know.
I thought so too. So unless they're trying, because soap operas can rewrite history, not knowing what the fans remember or not. But I don't remember the scenario when Kyle found. Oh, wait a minute.
I remember
Yes, he
Kyle.
did.
I remember her and Kyle going back and forth about Billy, and it wasn't. It wasn't while her and Kyle were together. It was the
Correct.
time when Kyle liked her, and she wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really giving Kyle the time of day because she was kind of into Billy.
Now I remember. Yeah, because she was really raving and ranting about Billy to him. And
Yeah,
Kyle wasn't happy about that because Kyle was interested in her. I
yeah,
do remember that. So that's how he would know.
yeah. I had totally forgotten about that.
Yeah. But the Nick doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Victoria doesn't know. And of course, if that came out, that would be huge. What do you think? Do you think they should make that? Because they brought that up for a reason, and I'm wondering if they only brought it up for the sake of Lily's piece in this, or are they going to go further with it? What do you think? Or do you think they should?
I think they brought it up for Lily's sake. Um,
Okay.
I don't feel like they're going to go any further with it because him and Victoria aren't on like some kind of road to recovery with their relationship. He doesn't really have. There's nothing like that's really going on with Nick, so there really wouldn't. And now Lily knows that would have been the one thing that would have hurt him is if Lily found out another way, or if Lily didn't know, and then all of a sudden the info comes out, and then it affects his relationship with her. So
Okay.
seeing as how they have revealed it to Lily, they talked it out, and Lily still wants to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see where it's going to hurt him if any of
In
those
the long run.
out. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, so she seemed at first to be really taken back by it.
Mm-hmm.
That because I mean, honestly, his history in the past has been that when he gets hurt, he hit back,
Yeah.
and it's outlandish when he does it.
Yeah.
So whether it's Phyllis and the cheating with Nick and he lashed out, or if it's having something to do with Adam or whatever, or like, and she even I forgot about that, but even Lily brought up the whole thing about him coming all the way down to the prison when she was incarcerated to tell about what
Okay.
is his name, Kane.
Yeah.
And Lily made a point. You always lash out and try to stick it to people, but you don't understand what the fallout is of everybody that's caught up in between, like her, Faith, and anybody else that had some that's surrounding the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she had a good point there. Do you think that she should give him a fair shot, or should she look at his past and be concerned?
I mean, she knows Billy, and she got into a relationship with him anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know that you're going to be taking a risk of possibly maybe finding out something else later on down the line, which I don't think there's anything else that would come out in regards to his past that she doesn't already know about.
Yeah, that's true.
It sounds like to me that they're back on track and she is giving him another chance.
Yeah. I was just asking that question just to see what your thoughts would. Would you pursue it, or would it be like a question mark in your mind to say, will this happen again? You know what I mean? Yeah, because the way they played out in the storyline is that she, was like, okay, we can move past this. You seem to be different. You know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
just for conversation piece. Yeah, I mean, I would, in my opinion, when it comes to that, I would probably give him a fair shot, but I will also be, it'll always be in the back of my mind that if he goes through the next situation, how is he going to actually handle it? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I feel like she probably already. I mean, outside of that information coming out,
mhm,
like you said, she had given other examples of what Billy did, how he lashed out when he was hurt. So she was already aware.
mhm,
Um, I would think that she might already have that in her mind. Is like, I'm taking a chance with him because I know how he reacts to like bad news.
mhm.
So
Yep. So here's the thing. At this point forward, when it comes to Lily, if something major happens with Billy, you knew what you was getting yourself into.
yeah, and that's not. I don't think that's to say that she can't tell him, if he does something that makes her mad or that she
Mhm.
doesn't agree with, that she can't say, "Look, I don't agree with this. This is too much. This is where I draw the line and walk away." But yeah, like you said, if something happens, she can't. I don't feel like she can like use it to. I don't know. I guess like throw it in his face, kind of.
Yeah, and she probably shouldn't be shocked by it because you, you've been disclosed fully on what he's capable of.
Yeah.
And when you decide to get involved with that, it's like, okay, well, hey, I signed up for this. And the thing is about Billy, I mean, he probably can manage other stuff, but Adam is his Achilles heel. So if there is another scenario where it comes to Adam, I mean, it seems like right at the moment she's been able to rein him in because he just tried to go balls to the wall with Adam, what was it, earlier this week, and she had to rein him in. So obviously there's something because he has to deal with this pain with Delia. And that's the thing. I'm wondering if they probably, and I'm speaking from conversation, this is scripted on the show.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting how if probably he needs to have some help dealing with the fact of the things surrounding Delia's death because he attributes Adam to everything. Now, did he play a part? Yeah, because for covering up and hiding it, but the original impact had a lot to do with the movements of Billy, and I think he needs to come to terms to that. So, I mean, that's just
Yeah.
my thought.
That was
And
actually
what?
the
Hmm.
conversation that he had with Jack last week when Jack was telling him he needed to find a way to let go
Yeah,
of his anger.
yeah,
And I feel like that was the first time anybody is really like truly, I guess maybe had a breakthrough with him when it came to that because Jack
hmm,
told him that his anger is affecting his own life.
exactly.
And it seemed like Billy was kind of like a maybe a light bulb moment for him
Hmm.
with that conversation. So hopefully, yeah, they get they find a way to get Billy past the whole Delia thing.
Hmm. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting this going forward to see how their relationship materialize, but there's something coming down the road.
Well, that whole little
Hurricane Victoria.
we may as well talk about her little stuff this week too.
No. So what? Okay, and we were talking about this probably toward the end of 2020
Mm-hmm.
when we kind of saw the whole thing with telling him on the phone about Johnny wanted him to be there, and that ended up canceling their trip. Remember the conversation we had?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 2, 3 weeks later, here we are, and sure enough, Victoria is using her kids to get in the middle
Yep.
of Lily and Billy's relationship.
Yep. She sure is because, and this was the one thing that got me, was not that got me, but when she was telling Nikki, I had plans to do this with the kids, but I'm gonna see if or and Nikki offered. She was like, "Well, I can take them," and she was like, "No, Billy will do it. He'll drop anything for the kids." I was like, "Yep, Victoria is definitely playing a full on attack on his relationship with Lily using those kids because that wasn't her only option. She could have let her mom take her kids,
Of course.
but
Of
she
course.
put Billy in the middle of it.
Yeah, and then she kept making the statement to Nikki, Billy will do everything and anything for the kids. So anytime I ask, he'll do it. So
Yeah,
she know that that's going to be her card that she's going to play anytime that and Billy needs to stop. He need to keep his, and I mean, granted, he should be able to say what he want to say, but when it comes to Victoria, you need to stop telling her your business about what you and Lily doing.
yes, he does. He says too much.
You talk too much. If you going skiing or you going to a restaurant or you going out to a play or whatever it is, you ain't got to tell her about it because every time he says, "Oh, well, me and Lily have this plan," she figures out a way to throw them kids in the middle of it.
Right. What I can't wait to see is if it starts getting to the point where Billy is comfortable having Lily around the kids.
Oh, that's coming.
What
I've already seen Monday's episode.
Yeah, it's like what excuses are you going to use now? Because it's not going to be a case of where it has to. It's going to just be Billy. It's going to be Billy and Lily. So
Mm-hmm.
you try to use your kids if you want to, but he can bring Lily along with them. So now you
Well,
really.
well, you know what? Here's the thing about that is that, and I don't know this part of it. I mean, like I said, I seen Monday, but this part I'm about to say was not a part of that. I'm wondering when later down the road, when Billy started bringing the kids and hanging out with Lily, is Victoria going to start having a problem with that?
I'm sure she's going to find a reason.
Mm-hmm.
She is going to find a reason, and right now she's trying to make it seem like she's all good with their relationship, and that her concern is for Lily and not because Billy is dating again. But we all see through it.
So let me ask you this. Let's kind of stop right there and dive deep a little bit on this because I got a question for you. Do you actually think that she really want Billy back, or do you think that she, because of how well and how he seems to be going well above and beyond with Lily, that's the problem that's bothering her? Do she really actually want to be with him?
I think it's your second
Okay.
the second thing is he sees how well he's doing with her and
Mm-hmm.
her that he's doing so good with someone else. So I don't,
Mm-hmm.
at least right now, I don't think she necessarily wants to be back with him. I think that's going to change, and I think she is going to want him back. But right now, I think the initial thing is it just I think she's just jealous that he's happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to answer that question. My thought is exactly the same almost. It's two parts to mine though. The first part of it is yes, I think she really truly don't want him back because she had prime opportunity to get back with this man
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't take it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, she listened to Victor with that lie he told about Amanda being in the hotel and blah, blah, blah. He was begging and pleading, nothing's going on. She even originally saw that nothing was going on after the fact, before him and Lily got into a relationship. She had ample time to get with him. The moment that she saw that he had stars in his eyes and him and Lily is smiling and laughing together and taking trips and doing all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
she's like, oh, it's like that, huh?
You're right.
And so now she want to break up the party. The other thing I think it is because, and this goes back to when Billy, before they got into a relationship, meaning Lily and Billy, back when Billy was writing an article on Adam. Before that article came out and Faith and all that, Victoria can easily manipulate him because of the fact that she knew at that point where he stood in regards to her, that he would basically do just about anything for her. When you're in a relationship with somebody else, you don't have that control like you used to.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, I'm wondering if that's part of it too. Number one, she don't want him to be happy with somebody else. Number two, she don't have as much control over him like she used to.
Yep. She's gonna lose that power.
She gonna lose that power over him, because you remember she really seduced him because she was so cold to him. But the moment she wanted to take Adam down and use Chance Come to do it, she was smiling and kikiing in his face, and he was feeling like, oh, we're making a breakthrough, only to come to find out she just wanted to use him to do the article.
Right. Yep.
Because remember when he said, well, maybe, I would like to come out and hang out with you. She turned so cold so fast, and he was like, oh, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so fast. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What are you about to
No,
say?
I was saying I remember that too. Yep.
Yeah, she was cold to him when he thought he had another opportunity, because she manipulated him and making him feel some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And you gonna use that. So she realized, okay, I can't use me no more. The next thing I got is these kids.
Yeah. Yep. I totally
So
agree. That is most likely part of her issues. She's gonna lose her control over the things that she wants him to do.
mm-hmm. And she know that Lily is someone to reckon with, because Lily don't back down to her.
Yeah.
So she can't go one-on-one with him. So she's going to use something else that she knows Lily understands, which is mothering.
Yep.
To say, well, I know Lily is, because she keeps saying that. I know Lily is going to understand. These are your kids. So that girl is so manipulative.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Lily doesn't want to be the girlfriend that
Exactly.
issue with him canceling plans to go be with his kids. Like, she doesn't want to be the girlfriend that comes in between a father
Him and his
and
children.
children.
Yep.
So she's not going to say anything.
Yep. So Victoria know exactly what she's doing. She's like, okay, I can't use my power of seduction with him, so I'm going to use these kids as a way to get in the way. So it's going to be interesting to see, because I'm hearing rumors that he's going to break Lily's heart, but I don't know if that's true.
I hope that's not true, because he already sees it. He already sees the stuff that Victoria is doing, because he called her out on it with the Christmas thing. And when she told him, well, my meetings got canceled, so but the kids want us to go as a family, he had this look on his face like, don't you playing those games again? Like, he didn't really believe that's how it happened. That, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think what she probably did was told the kids, we're all going as a family, and like you said, she used their emotions to get what she wanted.
Exactly. So especially, and I think that was yesterday's episode where, like you just said, she was like, oh, I can't go, I can't go. Then she gets him to take the kids, and then she turned around and said, oh, well, my meeting ended, I can go. You the CEO. If you have the room and the movement to do whatever you need to do. Now, unless there was some meeting that was like detrimental to the loss of extreme revenue in the company, you could have been able to move that around for your kids.
Right.
I would think. And obviously she did, because now they end up taking them kids to the ice skating.
But yeah, when she was having that conversation with Nikki, and Nikki was like, I almost felt like Nikki was trying to say that it wasn't fair because she has the kids full time and Billy just has the kids, I guess, part time or whatever, but the kids live with her and she doesn't have a social life and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not like this woman is making minimum wage, working 2 jobs, and can't afford to take time off. She's the CEO of a worldwide
Corporation.
successful corporation.
Mm-hmm.
If she really wanted to make time for herself and have a social life, she could do that. She's choosing not to.
Yeah.
It just bothered me because I felt like Nikki was trying to blame it on the fact that she's the one that has the kids all the time and not Billy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with you. She can move her schedule around if she wanted to, but this was all a plot.
Right.
She probably didn't have any meaning whatsoever, but the way that it was maneuvered, again, her being manipulative, she maneuvered this thing. Let me reel him in
Mm-hmm.
and then say, hey, I need you to take these kids. I got a meeting. Now, once he's in, you meet him at the coffee house saying, you know what? Meeting canceled. You know what? Let's just go together. And then she used the word as a family.
Yeah. It's like, don't you feel like you're probably sending your kids mixed signals?
Yeah, but and here's my thing. Just say, okay, what if Lily said, you know what? I'm out of this. I can't do this with you. If you're gonna go and figure this out with Victoria, have at it. I'm wondering if Victoria would drop him like a bad habit.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because do she truly have feelings for him, like we was just discussing? I'm wondering if she want him to be alone and miserable. She's miserable and alone. Why you got to be happy with somebody else? Why I got to? And the thing is, her being miserable alone is her own choice.
Yep.
Go find you somebody else.
Right. I do think eventually it will get to the point where she does actually want to be with him.
Okay. Yeah, it
'Cause I
depends on
think,
where the writers are going to go with this.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I think I think we've said this before. I think she's realizing now that her father probably wasn't telling the truth about Billy and Amanda.
Right.
So she basically blew up her own marriage off of a lie that her father told her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And my thing is, I think, well, I don't know about at this point because he's already involved into another relationship, but I'm wondering if she was straight up and honest and say, you know what? Hey, my decision and how I treated you was based on a lie that my father told, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. I should have believed you. Would you give me a second chance? Kind of pull a Zoe.
Yeah, I feel like when she said that to him,
Uh-huh.
I think because it was something that Victor manipulated, a situation he manipulated and lied about, which,
Mm-hmm.
and we all know how much he can't stand Victor. I think he
Right.
would look at it like, I've told you for years
Yeah.
about your father and how you know how much your father hates me and you chose to believe him over me. So I'm not going to take another chance at us trying a relationship again and having him come up with some other kind of fabrication about something that I've done and then have you have to worry about you believing your father over me.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
hope that he would think about that
Yeah.
if that did happen.
Yep. I totally agree with you on that one. So, okay. So, was there? Oh, yeah. So, while we're talking about Victoria, that leads us into this whole thing with Phyllis.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm liking that Phyllis took the high road.
Me too. I was shocked.
I was shocked too, because I said, writers, you about to blow up her life
Yep.
again.
I was shocked and I was relieved at the same time
Yeah.
because she
And
explained to Nick about what she was planning to do as well.
exactly, I was gonna say that too. Yeah, she actually filled Nick in on it too.
What was your reaction when Nick said I wouldn't have minded seeing that?
I was shocked because just as much as we were shocked that Phyllis took the high road, I was shocked when Nick says, I would have loved to see that. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what are y'all doing? Because, oh yeah, and that's another thing I'm going to discuss after we talk about this part, because this came up in social media about shocking statements. But speaking on, yeah, I was shocked that they had it where Phyllis decided to take the high road. She did bring it up to Victoria. Victoria expected her a blackmail, but Phyllis was like, "Nope, I just want to let you know that I know."
Yeah, and you see the look on Victoria's face when she walked away from Phyllis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Phyllis was more powerful in that moment than any of the craziness that she's ever done, because she didn't do anything illegal
Right.
or underhanded. She just put the girl on notice.
Yep. And she let, and I was very happy that she told Nick, because there's no like um lingering secret
Right.
between them.
Right.
Whole thing.
Right. Now that leaves me to question, though, because they took all of the secrets out of the box. There's no secret that, Victoria don't know that Phyllis know. There's no secret that Nick doesn't know what Phyllis know. What happens now with this whole thing? Are they just going to shift it all over to Gloria, or is this going to lead into something else? Because everybody knows everything. There's transparency here.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. I feel like I I feel like maybe it's going to turn into a Gloria storyline now.
Right. Because Gloria is coming back next week. So um maybe they're just going to take the heat off of Phyllis and this whole thing. Maybe it might bounce back to something. Maybe they'll keep Victoria away from Phyllis for a while, because what Phyllis knows. And like you say, it shifts everything over to Gloria. So we shall see. But I like exactly how all of that went down. I was so happy about that. But let's speak about shocking statements. So I happened to come across an article because people were slamming Sharon Case for playing the Sharon role,
Mm-hmm.
about her saying to Nick that he and Phyllis look great together, that they're better off together. Remember that statement last week?
Yep, I remember it.
And I don't know if you saw it in the groups. A lot of fans were not happy about that statement, and they were upset with the writers, because either, there, of course, there's been this rivalry between Sharon and Phyllis.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think that what they decided to do is, because she's a mental health specialist, because she handles things differently now, is that she's taking the high road with this thing. I'm married. I'm moving on. I
Yeah,
don't have to sit around and be bitter about you and Phyllis. If that's what y'all gonna do and y'all happy together, so be it. And I actually like that aspect.
I did too. And she's never been. I've never. Sharon has never been a petty character. So
Right.
I mean, I feel like her character was just being honest. She thinks that her Nick and Phyllis were good together.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't I was actually happy with that, because I like to see when people take the high road when certain situations. You don't have to stay in a place of bitterness.
Yeah,
You can say, you know what, I'm gonna let this go. He decided to choose that route. I chose this route. Let's just live happily ever after. And there were a lot of fans that was like, how dare you say that? I mean,
yeah.
she's been a thorn in your sides for years. You don't have to stay in that place.
Right.
But go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just saying, yeah, I didn't get the bitterness from the fans for that. And it's not like her and Sharon had like a recent run in with each other. Like they
Hmm.
haven't had drama with each other for years. I think the last thing was that whole thing with JT.
Yeah, because of Sharon, you know, was working with the crew to keep it a secret, and Phyllis was like, "No, I'm out. I'm gonna take a deal."
Yeah, and that wasn't even anything that had to do with like relationship wise. Or wait,
Yeah.
when her and Nick slept together, when she cheated on Billy, was Sharon and Nick together?
Let me think. Let me think. Well, they were about to get married. That's what it was, because they were. This was the last time they were about to get married. And remember, Sharon took her ring off. Nick saw the ring sitting. He automatically assumed that Sharon didn't want to marry him. He ran over to Phyllis's, That's when they had that sex scene on her island in the
Yeah.
kitchen.
Okay. So
And Billy found out about it because he was the one dealing with her. And then that's when he ended up sleeping with Summer.
okay. So I guess that was the most recent.
Recent. Right. And I think that was just as recent as probably like, because Gina Tognani was still playing Phyllis at the time.
Yeah.
So that was like 2018, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Yeah. So,
years they've gotten over it.
yeah, so I like the fact that they wrote it. They wrote this as taking the high road, but a lot of folks don't want Sharon to take the high road.
Yeah.
So,
Sharon is always. I feel like she's always been the kind of character that takes the high road. So I don't. Yeah. I don't get the fans. I think it. I think I said this to you. I think it's mainly because they just don't like Sharon. Because if it had been um, someone else that I can't think of anyone else that Sharon has an issue with. Maybe Chelsea. Her and Chelsea have an issue.
yeah, her and Chelsea got issues over Adam.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
if it had come from that direction, I don't feel like um, there would have been that strong of a reaction.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, let's see. What do we have? Let's shift over to, because I think we're pretty much done with the Victoria, Phyllis, Nikki, and Lily and Billy thing. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's switch over to the whole thing with Amanda
Mm-hmm.
and her mom, long lost mom and sister. Here's the thing, and I had a moment when I was watching that, and it was so crazy, and I felt for her when she made this statement to her mom, because her mom was like, "You were a mistake. I
Yeah.
was relieved that, I didn't even get to see y'all. They took the babies away. I was trying to not get embarrassed. I was in college." And that was horrible to hear.
Yeah. That was, man. I felt bad for Amanda.
I sure did. But Amanda came back and said, "You know what? Even though the situation that I was in, you missed out
Yeah.
on, she's a well-renowned attorney, worked for one of the big communications corporations in the state or in the country, so while you thinking you was relieved." And she had her mom in tears because she was like, and then didn't know about the fact that Anne had died and that Hillary had died.
Yep. And I
She
didn't
was
even
looking
think about that
crazy.
part.
What'd you say?
I didn't even think about that her mom wouldn't have known that Hillary passed away.
And she didn't even know that Anne passed away because she asked her. She was like, "Well, where's Anne? Anne passed away a few years ago, but I guess you were too stuck in your life to hear about that either." Remember when Amanda told her that too.
Yeah. And that part is like that's where I feel like her mom and that side of her family was very cold because how could you who has at least one of your children.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't bother after all these years, even after you had grown up and grown out of your, graduated from college. You don't live with your parents anymore.
Exactly.
Before you met your husband, you didn't think not one time to check in on your cousin who is raising one of your children to make sure that they were doing okay. Because didn't Anne have um, didn't she have an addiction problem? What was she, an alcoholic or something
What
like that?
was her name? Anne or Rose? I
I,
don't know why I hear Rose somewhere, but yeah, she had an alcohol problem because that's how her and Neil knew each other.
yeah. So it's like your cousin is over here with a with a problem raising your child, and you don't even know what's going on. It just that to me is crazy that you wouldn't even try to peek in on them to make sure that they're doing okay. Like she did you a favor.
Yeah. Yep. She
But,
did. And the clap back that came from Amanda
mm-hmm.
was on point.
Yeah.
I will say that much. Because you start out with statements like a mistake. I was relieved that you weren't around. I didn't get to see you. I didn't get to know you. I just went on with my life. and Amanda came back with what she came back with, I was like, oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, her mom was, even though she was showing emotion, like the Amanda's mom was showing emotion, I still felt like she was very cold, like just from the stuff that she was saying to her,
And you know
just
what you
like
just, mhm.
nonchalantly.
And you know what, you made a good point on something that was really interesting in the fact that even after you graduated from college and get out of your parents' house, why not then? They have no control over you at this point.
Right.
So this is on you now. It's one thing to blame your parents if, I don't know. They didn't make mention. They said she was in college. So usually you're in college between 18 and 22, unless decide to go to college older, or if was ahead educational wise and you went to school at a younger age. But just say the averages. The averages is 18 to 22.
Right.
You're an adult.
Yep.
So unless you had these kids in high school and they dictated and they just took the kids away, that part didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How were they able to make that decision to take those kids away from you if you were in college, meaning that you were actually an adult?
I guess it was more so. It seems like they.
Or was it bad writing?
Well, I think what they were getting at was that because of the status that her family had, was that they probably forced her to do it, and it didn't bother her that they did. I don't think she cared about fighting for the kids, for her kids.
Because usually, and I know I'm crossing real world into soap world, but normally at the age of 18, doctors don't even talk to you. Like when I got a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old. When they turned 18, I had no access, couldn't even talk to their doctors. They had to do it themselves. My role had changed. So just thinking of that, with her being in college, they were able to, and I guess, rich and powerful people, because she was saying that these people were very well off, whatever. Who knows what they made happen? And again, it's a storyline. So I just found that pretty interesting. But the fact that it actually was played out that way, she had zero interest in realizing where them kids went.
Exactly. So it was her choice.
It was her choice.
She basically let her family take care of it for her.
Exactly. So it wasn't like, oh, I didn't have a choice. I didn't get to see the kids and I didn't have a connection. You were relieved that they did this, because she. Thanks for joining us this week on CBS Soap Dish Recap. Make sure you check us out on our Facebook group at The Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, Long Haul, Die Hard Fans Group. We are 29,000 strong, and we would welcome you. Also, never miss an episode. You can check us out on other platforms, such as via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. Also on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and more. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, give us a rating. If you simply want to tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. We're signing off for now. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.